It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the East Carolina Pirates Creative Content Assistant for Women's Basketball, Alexis Holthaus. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work inside college athletics?
So when I was younger, my family wasn't really ever a big sports family. Like my brother and I played sports a little bit, and my mom played sports in college, but like we never like Super Bowl Sunday was not a big thing in our house. Like nothing sports wise is huge. So actually when I first got to ECU, I was a weather major and I was determined I was going to be a meteorologist 100%. And then in the second semester, my freshman year, a job with the football team opened up, and I had like some interest. And I was like, okay, well, let me try it out. And so I got the job, and that was my first opportunity getting my foot in the door with athletics.
What was it like, obviously, switching majors to sports studies?
It was really, since I was a freshman, it wasn't as big of an impact. So there wasn't any like, there's only one class that I was like, well, this is unnecessary, but it wasn't a bad switch over.
What was it like, obviously, studying sports studies at ECU?
Oh, it's a lot more relaxed. Definitely, there's not much math, which perfect. It's more kinesiology classes, and the people who run the sports studies major show us the opportunities that are within the school and outside of the school to help us. So they're more focused on our success than what they're doing within the program.
Of course, as a freshman, what was it like covering the ECU football team as a creative media intern?
It was really fun, especially since it was around the time that COVID started to get slightly like less of a problem. So there was more stuff we were allowed to do. I originally got there beginning of this year in January. So they were in their spring off season where they would do like have mat drills at 5:30 in the morning. And so that's how my days would typically go. I would get there at 5:30, be there till 8, go home and do my classes and come back later at 3 and be there till 5. It was fun. I always started with photography, and then towards the end of the spring season, they moved me into miking up and players and coaches. So that it was really fun.
Of course, when you got moved up to miking up the players and coaches, what was that like, getting the opportunity to mic up players like Holton and even Coach Mike?
Okay, so we never did. I haven't done Holton or Mike Houston, but we did the assistant coaches. And at the beginning of this season, we mic'd up Jaquan McMillan and Fernando, which is number 66. And that was actually really fun because I was able to get to know a little bit, like you can provide more insight to your audience of what the coaches are actually like. So they got to really see an insight of what practices with the coaches and how the players feel during practice.
What are some of your roles as ECU's athletics digital crew?
Okay, so I am a mix of a photographer and a videographer for them. I do more photography than videography. Most of the time, if it's a video, I'm texted about it and someone can ask me to take a video. But mostly I just take pictures for them. So specifically as of August, I've only done soccer, but as the spring season comes and more sports start their season, I'm hoping to cover more sports.
What's it like covering soccer and getting to take photos of the ECU Pirates athletes?
It's really fun because especially I've made some friends along the way, whether they're on the digital crew or even on the team. Especially since soccer also is really good this season, is going to the playoffs. I've had the opportunity to photograph like when they get goals or like when they win games, and it's really fun to celebrate with them at the same time their win.
What are some other sports that you cover for ECU?
As of right now, I've only covered soccer, women's basketball, and football.
What is it like covering the women's basketball team?
It's definitely super fun. We have a very big family atmosphere. I feel like I've probably learned a lot more with women's basketball than I did with football. I have a lot more one-on-one time with my boss than I did at football. Um, I have more opportunities to show off my work also in basketball. So in November, I have a halftime show, a feature coming up for ESPN. And then I get to run their TikTok page right now, and the engagement is starting to get really high. So I'm enjoying it.
What is it like, obviously, getting to run their engagement on TikTok and obviously getting to work so close with ESPN?
So we haven't started on the ESPN project yet, but in the next few weeks that will start. So I haven't really figured out how that's gonna go. But engagement was really fun. I had to when I first started running like stuff on the TikTok page, um, I had to do my research on like how to get the engagement and how the TikTok algorithm works because it works really weird compared to other social media. So like there's different times for you to post. And so I try to stick to a routine so we can boost our engagement and hopefully get more followers and more awareness for women's basketball.
As the women's basketball season just gets around the corner, what are a typical day in the life of a women's basketball creative content?
Yeah. So I get there around like 1:30ish too. I have my classes in the morning. Um, every day, but today we have practice in between 1:30 and 2, and it lasts for 2 hours. So either I will be downstairs shooting practice, like photos and everything for content, or I will be working on videos. Like we have a video coming up for Halloween. Can't disclose that one yet, but we have a video coming up for Halloween, or I'll be editing TikToks or just creating new content for what we need for the women's basketball team.
What are some similarities and differences between covering, obviously, the soccer, the football, and now women's basketball?
Yeah, so football, there was more of a routine to stick to. Like you were told, here's how we do things, and then we're going to teach you how to do things and our way. Soccer kind of lets me do whatever I really want under athletics. They're like, you can photograph whatever you want as long as you edit them and send them to us when you're done. And basketball kind of gives me like a right in between that says like, here's what we do. You can follow under that, but there's also space for you to give us ideas and we can run with that too.
What is the process like of obviously editing the photos and sending them in?
Definitely takes a lot of time depending how many photos you have. I think when I first got with the football team, we had a scrimmage towards the end of the spring, and I came home with almost 2,000 pictures, and I narrowed it down to 300. And you have to do it. You have like a time frame, so it takes a lot of time and a lot of focus. But I mean, it's really fun. We always edit under Adobe Creative Cloud.
Of course, working with the photographers as a creative content, what is it like working with some of the amazing photographers that ECU has had, like Savannah?
It's really fun. You get insight from them and you basically learn from each other. It's a great way to network with other people too.
Of course, what are some of your favorite memories and moments covering ECU athletics?
Definitely this last football game I covered was against Tulane, the homecoming game. And this was my first time pre-COVID, since like COVID happened, I've seen like a full stadium. So this was a big deal for me to be on the field, and the stadium is full. And then we had a band play for homecoming, and I got to sit on the field and photograph and video them. So that was my favorite.
What is it like to obviously have that home seat and obviously be so close to the action versus obviously if you were growing up an ECU fan, you were probably in the nosebleed section?
My parents are not from here, so I never was like a big like college fan. We never had a certain like home team. Um, but it's really fun to get right on the action. I've definitely almost gotten tackled multiple times in game. But it's really fun because at the end of the day, you get really good shots.
What is it like, obviously, during halftime when obviously you have to go through some of your photos? What is that process like for you?
So I have an SD card reader that I keep on my phone, and you can import the pictures, and I'll try my best to edit them from the pixels on my phone. It's not the best, but I submit that to our producer in Box, and so the producer will post the photos that he gets with like the scores and stuff. So we'll have like the Instagram stories that would say like the score.
What is that feeling like of obviously having your photos on Instagram and knowing that obviously when when you have free time, you can show your friends, be like, "Hey, I took that photo of Holden," or "I took that photo of a player."
It feels great, honestly. It makes me feel really proud of myself. If like even if just the players post it and it's not on like the football page or women's basketball and the players post it, I'm like, dang, they must have really liked my picture. And they share all of it, and their friends will reshare it, and then so many people get to see your picture, and it's amazing.
What is something that you learned as a content creator on the college level?
Um, I've never been like I've always been good with content on my own Instagram, but when it came to other people's Instagram, it's I have more fun with it. More because I take it as let's see who can get more engagement. Hey, we have more engagement than like Texas women's basketball or like UNC. That's the goal of getting on a level of like a really big school that has basketball.
Of course, how do you balance obviously running a ECU's athletic page versus obviously having your own personal life and running your personal page?
Yeah, so I try to do my best to focus on work when I'm at work and focus on school and my other like friends and relationships when I'm not at work. So unless it's like a thing where I have to edit a video and I'm happy to do that at home, I do that's like the main focus. Always at work, you focus more on the engagement.
What's it like obviously balancing when to turn on the athletic side and when to turn it off?
Um, Good question. I've always in the athletic mindset, but I always turn it down most of the time. I always am following whatever football game is on, whatever sports team I like. Always following sports, no matter what time of day it is. But when it comes specifically to ECU athletics, I think when it's closer to game days, like in those 1 and 2 days before, that's when I start getting in more of my athletic creative mind. I'm sorry.
Who are some of the teams that you follow that you get inspiration from?
Yeah, so Texas Longhorns, they are crazy good at what they do. Also Cincinnati is very good at what they do. They have like for every one of us, they probably have like 13 people. Um, but yeah, I mean, they are great inspirations. We follow it's kind of like the Pinterest of Adobe. It's called Behance, and that's what we get our inspiration from too. So it's really just from everywhere. Anything, especially on TikTok, since it's like a main explore page. Anything I see sports wise, I just follow them immediately so I can get that inspiration.
What advice would you give people looking to work inside college athletics on the creative service side?
Yeah, it's big in demand right now. It's not as hard as people think it is. I manage 3 internships at one time, so it's not like if you want to do it, just go for it. There's nothing that can stop you. My recommendations are network, especially on LinkedIn, and then Teamworks Online is a great way to keep up with internships too.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is at queenalex._. And my Twitter is at alexjoy_.
Thank you again, Alex, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as you begin your career with ECU and continue your career with ECU Creative Services.
Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Alex, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Of course, thank you. Bye.
It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.